Hi all, welcome back to a new post today. And today let's delve on something really important which is being conducted as a part of the post-budget webinar by the Government of India, and that's nothing but urban planning, development and sanitation. But before dwelling into the details, I would like to ask you, how would you actually like your cities to be? I'm sure you want a greener city which is very comfortable to live at, affordable housing, you want cleaner roads, you want mobility which is very easy, you want to reach to places very quickly, traffic free roads, you also want good water resources, clean and green surroundings and better waste management. So these are all your insights for a good city in which you want to live at. So let's look at what are the government actually planning for with regard to urban development and planning, because cities are the growth poles of the economy. So government is conducting a series of webinars now as a part of the post-budget webinars, and these webinars are about 12 in number. The main aim of this webinars is to actually gather ideas and resources, insights into how well we can actually implement the budget plans more effectively. So the webinars are conducted by the Government of India to seek ideas for better implementation of the goals and budget of 2023-24. Now the importance of this webinar is that we know that we are in the stage of Amrit Kal, that is 25 years up to that is 100 years of independence, and government has its own aims and objectives of what it wants to see India like when we are entering into the 100th year of independence. India wants, the Government of India wants India to be a fastest growing economy in the 21st century, and therefore it is focusing on urban areas which are actually growth poles. So well-planned cities are going to be the need of the hour in this fast-paced environment of India, especially in the 21st century when government has big goals for India to achieve. Now, according to 2021 data, approximately a third and a little more of Indian population, almost close to 40% of the Indian population live in cities. And the trend is only showing an increasing data. So, India's urban population is estimated to stand at 675 million by the year 2035, which is going to be the second highest after China. The 2011 census, that is the very recent one, so we haven't conducted the 2021 census because of the COVID pandemic. So 2011 says that we have 475 agglomerations. This is an increase from 384 in 2001. We have 7,935 towns as opposed to just 2,774 in 2001, and we have close to 20 million migrants moving from the rural to the urban areas every year. And also added to this is the intrinsic population growth that happens in the urban areas. So urbanization in India is seeing an explosive growth, and this is expected to continue. Now, the urban share of Indian population, as I told you, is close to 40%. It was 31% in 2011, and now it's close to 40%, and it is going to increase up to 50% by 2040. So while bringing a range of economic benefits, rapid urbanization has also brought with it numerous challenges that we should remember. So most noticeably, there is a lack or there is a backwardness in with the difference between demand and supply with regard to housing, infrastructure, better civic amenities, better water availability, cleaner environment, better mobility. In all these areas, there is much more for India to achieve, and therefore if you see, the government is thus focusing on urban areas, because let me tell you that urban areas are the focus points for service sector activities and manufacturing and distribution activities, which actually provide a large percentage of the taxes to the government. So that is the reason they are called as growth poles, and they cater to a large amount of revenue of the government. The spatial distribution of large cities in India is uneven, so it's not even everywhere all over the India. If you see, the 100 most populous cities in the country are confined to namely 50 states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Andhra Pradesh. And if we want growth or development to be balanced, there has to be urban facilities that are provided in these areas similarly across all the urban areas in the country, and we should ensure that urban areas grow on the same basis or the same level. Therefore, for the development, the government has a two aim strategy. Now, one is development of new cities and modernization of the services in the existing ones. So, the two main aspects of urban development is that one, development of new cities and improving the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities, and modernization of the services in the existing ones. So, urban planning, let me tell you, is going to determine the fate of the growth of India, especially during the Amrit Kal, that is the 25 years up to the 100 years of independence of India. Now, they also provide a substantial market to the rural areas. So, urban areas are all the more important because it is on the basis of the growth of urban areas and sustainability will the rural areas also survive. So, what does the government actually want the urban areas to look like? Now, the government wants the cities to be garbage free, water secure, climate resilient, most important. The plan and policies of the government is to make the life much more easier for the people and also to help in growth and development. So, in the 6th of a 12 post-budget webinar series organized by the government, they are seeking ideas not only from noted institutions, private sector, media houses, but also the public for suggestions for effective implementation of the Union Budget 2023. Now, lack of the planned cities, let me tell you, has been the main reason actually for slow growth of India, and this was said by our own Prime Minister as well. That is why the Prime Minister is focusing on planning most importantly in this webinar. He says that poor planning of the cities and lack of proper implementation of the given plans create huge challenges for the development journey of India. He also stressed that there is a need to work in a very focused way for planning with regard to spatial planning, that is land use, transport planning, that is mobility, and urban infrastructure, that is with regard to your civic amenities. The focus of the webinar, let me tell you, was on the immediate needs or the goals of the government with regard to urban areas. So the three main things are to strengthen the urban planning ecosystems, because it is based on planning that the other steps can be achieved, or the other steps can be taken and the goals can be achieved. So a better planning ecosystem in the states. Number two is how to properly use the expertise that is available in private sector and also in the government with regard to, again, urban planning, and how to develop a center of excellence that will cater mainly to urban planning. So as I told you, urbanization is now is seeing an explosive growth, and this is going to continue. This is going to continue because as growth increases, as the service sector starts to improve, as it caters more to the GDP, as manufacturing is going to increase and cater more to the GDP, so even urban areas also will be increasing. Now, therefore, if you see the 3-point strategy which the government has spoken about mainly focuses on planning, because that is the beginning start for anything to be achieved. If your plans are well strategized, well implemented, all the other goals can be easily achieved. So planning is needed not only for well-planned infrastructure, as I told you, planning also plays a very important role for sustainable features of the city. As climate change is taking its toll, we have problems regarding to environment, air pollution is becoming more, waste management is another big challenge, water management is another big challenge, housing needs catering to the growing population in the urban areas, dealing from increasing from two sides. One is migration from the rural areas, and the other one is already the growth of population in the urban areas as well, and making them climate resilient, that is able to adapt to the climate changes, especially like challenges like heat waves and heavy rainfall, etc. So transport planning was focused on. So transport was one very important pillar that was spoken about in the webinar. So the government stressed that there is a need to strengthen the metro network, public transportation especially, because it not only leads to cheaper transportation, but also it decreases the emission of greenhouse gases, and also to provide first and last mile connectivity. Then the government also mentioned on widening of the roads for traffic management, because there is a lot of fatal accidents happening in India because of traffic. Then greener mobility. Your mobility should be greener and it should be environmentally friendly. elevated roles to cater to increase of traffic, and also junction improvement have been focused on as part of transport planning. Therefore, connectivity, if you see, is taken as an important parameter because these are the arteries or the veins which not only connect people from various places but also businesses, your states, etc. And to focus on this, we also have IGST catering to interstate trade. So interstate transportation is really important, especially with regard to interstate connectivity, and that also faster and greener connectivity. The other most important aspect that was focused on by the government during the webinar was circular economy. As I told you that cities are growing, they need to become sustainable. They need to cater to the coming generations as well, and therefore circular economy is going to be very important, which deals with reuse, regeneration from the waste materials. So circular economy is nothing but an economic system which is based on reuse and regeneration of materials or products, especially means continuous production on sustainable and environmentally friendly ways. So if the cities are to be sustainable, there has to be, and they have to continue for a longer time, comfortable for the coming generations to live, there needs to be a lot of reuse, recycling that has to be. So there needs to be a circular economy in the cities to ensure their sustainability and with regard to optimum utilization of resources, because resources are non-renewable. We have finite resources, whether it be your mineral resources, energy, fossil fuel, etc. Now thousands of tons of municipal waste are the main challenge, especially in urban areas with regard to sustaining the cities for a long time. If these wastes are not handled properly, definitely cities will become only dumping yards. So we have a lot of waste generated in urban areas, especially with regard to battery waste, electronic waste, automobile waste, hospital waste, that is your biological waste, tires, etc. and a lot of organic waste also from the houses which are used to make compost every day. Now especially government has achieved a target, so it is almost cycling, processing almost 75% of the waste, but this is not in all the urban areas of the country. Let me remind you, there has to be hard work on the front of especially processing of the waste and also proper disposal of the waste. So work is underway, especially to make the cities free from the heaps of garbage and waste processing, and this will make room for a lot of this will make room for recycling and also reuse and maintain the circular economy as well, and various other industries also will benefit from it. So there is a need for increase in investment with regard to waste cycling and also infrastructure. Another most important pillar is infrastructure. Now there is a lot for demand for housing, also for office spaces, land is needed for various activities, for your roads, etc. So increase in land planning is another most important pillar that the government is focused on, especially in the webinar. So planning is required, especially with regard to this in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities that are now going to take over from being only Tier 2, Tier 3 to big cities to grow on, like million+ cities. So there is a lot of land use planning that is required. So keeping cities, as I said, they are growth poles of the economy, and keeping in mind the cities and also the local areas, the rural areas which support the cities. On the other hand, even the Finance Commission has also provided, the 15th Finance Commission has provided for local government grants so that they can take up certain aspects with regard to their powers in their area, with regard to keeping the cities sustainable, recycling, reducing waste, water management, etc. Let me quote our former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh here. He says that cities or urbanization is the outcome of the processes of growth and process of modernization, and this is going to stay, it's going to come. So better planning of urbanization is the dire need of our, if we want our cities to be resilient, climate resilient, if we want the cities to be sustainable, and if we want the cities to be continually providing growth and development to other areas in the country. Thus, urbanization needs to be planned, sustainable and resilient. I hope these points were really useful to you all, because we need to know now the perspective of the government with regard to urbanization. Urbanization is a very important topic with regard to UPSC GS paper 1 in your mains, and also urbanization is important with regard to climate change, because many of the weather related phenomena are extreme in your urban areas as well. If you did like, please like, share and subscribe, and do comment about how you like the content and was it helpful to you. And until then, I shall see you in my next post, and as usual, it's very happy learning.